refuse to get serious about it. Joining me now is Congressman John Lawson, Democrat from Connecticut and chair of the House Democratic Caucus, and May Henry, president of SEIU. Today, her organization of 2.1 million members announced the endorsement of President Obama. We'll talk about that more in just a moment. But, Congressman, let me start with you. Republicans continue to push unpopular legislation. Aren't they ignoring the will of the American people?
Well, no question about it there. As you pointed out, what the American people want and what we hear every single weekend that we go home is our constituents calling upon us to provide them with the simple dignity that can only come from a job, so they can provide the security for their family. And what we've gotten is, like you say, a lot of platitudes and a lot of messaging. But we should be able to take up the president's plan. Why not put up the president's plan? Take up Eric Cantor's plan, but for God's sake, act on jobs. You know, Al, that I've pressed the super committee to say, because we know this, job creation equals deficit reduction. The thing that reduces the deficit the most, if we were to take unemployment from 9.1 to under 7%, over a third of the deficit is reduced, and we put America back to work. I don't think this is rocket science. Either you have the goal and objective of putting the country back to work, or you have another goal, like unelecting the guy down on Pennsylvania Avenue.
Well, talking about that, Mary Kay Henry, you probably had the most on-the-ground, grassroots, progressive union in the country, and you made a big endorsement today. Before I get to that, though, they are going to actually reintroduce, Mary Kay, the balanced budget amendment, the Republicans in the House this week. Now, you and I have been in countless meetings together, marched together just in August, tens of thousands of us, about jobs. They are reintroducing this balanced budget amendment, which will cost jobs. It is so bizarre that Bruce Bartlett, former advisor to President Reagan and George H.W. Bush, said, quote, "The proposal that Republican leaders plans to bring up is frankly nuts." This is Bartlett, not Henry, not Sharpton, Bartlett. Mary Kay, what's wrong with these people?
It's outrageous, Reverend. We completely agree with you that there are hundreds and millions of people working in this country doing more with less, and 25 million more that want full-time work. And there's plenty of work that needs to be done in this country. And I join the congressman in saying there is an economic emergency. We need to declare a state of emergency. We need our government to act. We need millions of us to go back to work now.
Now, Congressman, when you look at the data, the average cash income in 2011, top 1% average, was $1,530,773 to be exact. That's the average. And the bottom 20%, $9,187. If that is not a wealth gap, if that is not class warfare on the bottom tier, I don't know what is.
Well, you know, it is class warfare. Unfortunately, the war has already been won, and it's been won by the nation's wealthiest 1%. And look, all the more reason, Mary Kay's absolutely right. You know, we need, as you know, Reverend Sharpton, from the Civil Rights Movement, the idea and the notion of the fierce urgency of now to put more than 14 million Americans back to work and some 25 million Americans that are underemployed. And we need the government to step in and act hand in glove together. And ironically, I think there's a number of Republicans that agree with this. We just need, and I always thought that the super committee, because there's no cloture vote and there's no poison pill amendments, that this was the best way for us to proceed in a timely manner to impact the American people. Obviously, and we still hope for that. But to date, we've not seen any jobs bill, just more of the same. But,
Congressman, you said something earlier that I want to go into and go to Mary Kay on this. You said that they are doing all of this, making the American people really suffer in many ways because we need these jobs, because they want to defeat the president. Is this all
they're pretty
political?
clear about that. They've said it. I mean, it's not anything that they've been bold, they've been blunt, and they've been very specific about it. When you have the leader of the Senate saying that he has one objective, and that's to take this president down, I mean, it's pretty clear. I mean, this isn't anything that they've been hiding or beating around the bush. They've come right out and said it.
Now, don't worry. Go back and tell your caucus, don't panic. The cavalry's on the way. Because look at what SEIU and Mary Kay is coming up the hill with. They started some ads today in states that are closely contested for the U.S. Senate. A new union ad aimed at these Republicans. And Mary Kay, tell us what you're doing.
We are coming up the hill. We think that this president fights for working families. We want to expand the fight by declaring this state of emergency. And tomorrow we will have members joining with students, the rest of the community and labor movement to say there's plenty of work that needs doing in this country. There's 60,000 bridges that can get fixed now. Exactly. There's lots of people out of work that want to get back to work. We just need Congress to make the decision to have everybody pay their fair share. And the Democrats have been leading that fight. We want the Republicans to join them, get American back to work.
Now, you coming up pretty tough on 3 Republican incumbent senators, Brown, Heller, and Rayburg. These are members that are up, and they are being challenged. The SEIU and other union groups have a new ad put out. And then you have a radio ad out, the new union ad aimed at these Republicans. Let's listen.
If you cut my Medicare, Senator Heller, I'll remember it every time I visit my doctor. I'll remember you cut Medicare and Medicaid every time I fill a prescription. I'll remember you cut Medicare if I fall or get hurt. I'll remember you protected millionaires over protecting my health. My friends will remember it too.
Now, this is a TV ad, Mary Kay. I know that SEIU's coming out strong, AFT, AFSCME, everybody's coming out. Mm-hmm. Does this mean that this is going to be, unlike the midterm, that it's going to be all hands on deck and we're going to be fighting and fighting hard so that Congressman Larson and his caucus will not be held in some kind of lonely island fighting by themselves?
Absolutely, and it means not just our hands, our 2.1 million members, but we're going to join hands with the unemployed, with non-union workers, with the rest of the labor movement, with all of our community allies, Reverend, because we think that we need to get into the streets in numbers like never before to make our case that we want our government to respond to this state of emergency. Our members want to back this president who is making the case that we cannot wait as a country. We have to act now. And that's why we thought it was important to endorse today and to get into the streets tomorrow and stay in the streets, turn out the vote in November 2012, and then keep in the streets in November 2013 to keep the we want for this country.
Well, Congressman, this is not a reality show. This is a show about reality. Americans need jobs, 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 and we will take nothing less. We've turned the conversation, thanks to our brothers and sisters at Occupy Wall Street. Now we've got to bring it across the line of victory. Jobs for the American people. Congressman John Lawson and Mary Kay Henry, SEIU. Thank you for your time tonight.
Happy to be here.
Thank you.
Coming up, Newt Gingrich denied lobbying, but a bombshell report now says he made more than $1 million somewhere